Alrighty, folks. The special event tournament for April 2025 has been announced. We are going into Revolution Planechase, a 1v1 format, as I understand it, in which both players bring a deck of 10 to 15 Planechase cards along with them to the tournament to help augment gameplay. Now, this is not the video in which we're going to go through all of the different planes that we're going to have access to in this special GP. That's going to be another video. What we're going to go through right now is the journey we had to take to get to this reveal, because unlike some past special variant format announcements, this one required a little bit of work. Now, this journey began for us a couple days ago when PTM teased the event with a blurry Revolution text with some sort of image overlaid within the actual letters. When we got to yesterday, early in the morning, we learned that there was some intention of something going on with the specific art. As folks pointed out over time, this art piece is art from the official Magic card Omniscience. And then we started getting more art pieces. And we ultimately got 9 different Revolution logos, all with unique artworks. Just double checking that I said that number correctly. Yep, 9 different Revolution formattings. And so, through all of that, we kind of just went through it all with like a bunch of different theories. People started pointing out that each of these had a different letter appended at the end of the file name. And so people started theorizing that the letters might be a code of some sort. Folks went all sorts of different places throughout the morning and afternoon of speculation and trying to figure out what this would be. Cut to today, this afternoon, when Cajun provides us with one more that instigates another round of hypothesizing. People immediately latch onto the artwork and go, okay, 3 Pokemon starters. We have 2 different cards in Revolution's history. It's the same card, but 2 different artworks of starters, and it's the ones from the 1st and 3rd generation of Pokemon, and here's generation 2. So maybe this is some expansion to Revolution. I know I was big on the train of speculating that this could be some sort of Revolution Horizons or some other component of, you know, here are expansions to the sets that have existed within the game, within our community format over time. And so a lot of people kind of immediately latched onto the idea of maybe this is new cards and that we're getting like teases of the art that's coming. And we were kind of right, but not in the way that we thought we were. Eventually, a member of the community pointed out, and I don't have the names of everybody who participated, but I will do what I can to try and shout out folks as we go. There was so much note-taking to do. In fact, if you were involved in this hunt, shout yourself out in the comments, so you can take credit for the discoveries that were rightly yours. Because I want to say I had a couple connections that I drew over the course of this hunt, but I was far from the only one hunting, and a lot of folks carried me a lot in terms of putting things together. So eventually, somebody decided to open this file and check the file name. That led us to lackybot.com/April/ as the file name. Well, the person who decided to check the file went to lackybot.com/April. Surely you must try harder than that. I will at least give you a hint. The URL is the key, and only alphanumeric characters will find your way. Ignore these letters for now. As we figured out each individual step and the answer to each puzzle in front of us, each trivia question in front of us, we unlocked one of these letters, 19 in total. We will get to what these letters mean in a moment, towards the end of this. But for now, we didn't have any letters. And as we started getting things, we started getting letters one at a time, which resulted in people initially thinking it was just going to be a bunch of E's, which was pretty funny. So, those 9 files from yesterday, all that had individual letter codes, it was A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and instead of H, it was Z. So somebody decided to do exactly that. And we got a choice of our starter. And this was where we began our journey. Folks started wondering, so what's the point here? And very quickly latched onto the idea that you could replace the letter codes of the images with one of the Pokemon starters. So Totodile was the path I started on. Our last GP is relevant to our hunt. Where was that again? Initially, folks speculated it was Petracia, which somebody had initially flagged as being from Theros and was given a thumbs up, I think incorrectly, which resulted in us trying Theros and getting a crossroads finally found on Theros, which, a little spoiler for you, was something we weren't supposed to find yet. This was the answer to a completely unrelated prompts that we'll get to later. So when we were finally pointed out to us that number 1, Petracia is not on Theros, and Petracia leads to a wrong trail, a dead end. It was then pointed out that this was all written before GP Petracia had ended. So our last GP wasn't March's GP, it was February. GP Whitecliff, like Uldun, you have awakened, feed your inner beast to continue. Folks stopped for a moment, wondering what feed your inner beast could be, and eventually figured out we evolved our starter. Croconaw leads to, on Chikyu, a string of renegades was finally disrupted by a new card type. Folks were a little puzzled by this for a bit, but eventually somebody pointed out that in our initial list of GPs, Athanis, Lotus Lane, Yamabuki, Kembul, Greenglade, Mirkalt, I believe it was, Greenglade, Alder, Rogue's Palace, Anagul, all were a string of creature promos that led into Thin the Veil in Grand Prix Kochiba. So if I understand correctly, sorcery was the type that disrupted. So if we replace Croconaw with sorcery, we find ourselves again on Chikyu. I think you already know what to do, indicating that we evolve our starter again. Like your friend here, this creature type wants to give you a kiss at your own peril. Folks did not understand this for a long time until somebody brute forced it. And honestly, this was not one I expected. This is another GP promo answer for a promo from last year, Rana's Slope Guard, who is depicted, let me see if I can try and get my mouse cursor here, depicted painting her lips, or like applying lipstick to her lips while sitting at a computer. I don't know why that's that's a kiss at your own peril, but it is. And if you put Yeti in place of Feraligatr, you've skied down the mountains of Karslov, and it seems your path has reached its end for now. So, this was the end of the Totodile path, and for a lot of us, we had completed our step. But there's a catch to all of this. During the course of this puzzle, we were locked to whichever starter we chose at the beginning, with every step of the puzzle being locked behind having completed the previous steps in order to make sure we didn't jump ahead on this part of the puzzle, which required teamwork and cooperation and some of us opening browsers on multiple different apps. The individual behind all of this, Cajun, who is responsible for the Chikyu Chaos Reigns and Monsters of Chikyu sets, as well as a lot of the infrastructure for LackeyBot, as I understand it, pulled all of this together within the last 24 or so hours. So huge props to Cajun on that front. Cajun has unlocked all of the paths for us, so we can follow all of them as we unravel how all of this came to be, which is a big boon for us going into all of this. So we'd skied down the mountains of Karslov. Our path reached its end for now. So when we go back, we have 2 other starters to choose from. So we'd kind of rushed through Totodile pretty quickly, and then folks started working on Cyndaquil and Chikorita simultaneously. Let's go down Cyndaquil here. Who was the winner of GP Little Root? So Little Root is not a GP we actually had, and that threw a couple people for a loop until I put together that Little Root was, the name of the town within Pokemon Gen 3. And since GQ Chaos Reigns renames the towns to new names, I remembered Mishiro Town was our first GP of the GQ Chaos Reigns season and pitched Itayu Cool as our answer. Sure enough, our understanding of Hoenn has unlocked the region. Stoke our flames to continue. So once again, we evolve to Quilava. Stretch your knowledge further. What was peculiar about our first Eternal Renegade? This one also stumped people for a little bit. Had to get some reminders on what our Eternal GPs were. And caused a little bit of confusion because GP Masara, our first Eternal GP, won by All Who Wander on an Abzan Treasures list, didn't get a GP promo. So that caused people to hesitate for a moment, wonder if perhaps the answer had something to do with just being absent. And then it was pointed out that because Masara didn't have GP promo, it wasn't our first Eternal GP promo. Thorn Chapel was. Sure enough, it's the normal version of Elemental of Surprise, which I can show you here. Gotta have it rotated. The normal version of Elemental of Surprise is just an Ampharos, but the GP promo is it Mega Evolved. So, what if we try Mega? Mega Ampharos with its cadre of tokens appears before you. I think you already know what to do. So once again, we evolve our starter to the final stage. This 3-star Renegade defied the odds and beat its promo to the punch. This one took a little while. I don't quite understand the 3-star bit, but perhaps we'll see it here. The answer is Vibrant Vengeance, which got a promo for winning GP New Tellison in the hands of Philippe Sanner. And then eventually, several months later, in Theros Age of Tracks, it was a League promo. So that ended up being the answer here. Apologies for me typing a bit sloppily. In Media, Vengeance was made, but like a Vengeance metered out, it seems your path has reached its end for now. So that was the end of our Typhlosion path. However, folks didn't immediately put together that Vibrant Vengeance was the answer. Instead, folks made a connection with Irrelict having 3 souls, 3 spirits, as its special Renegade promo from Worlds 2023. And so somebody pitched Irrelict as the answer to our 3-star Renegade that defied the odds and beat its League promo to the punch, despite Irrelict not getting a League promo. The reason this is notable is it did still lead somewhere. Thank you for your help. Now explore Prismavera to your heart's content. So this caused a lot of people to say that we'd solved the Typhlosion puzzle, despite, at the time, the answer being uncovered by others text not being listed on the Typhlosion page. People wrote off the Typhlosion path as done and moved on to trying to tackle the Chikorita path. or rather, simultaneously, people were tackling the Chikorita path. Chikorita led to the GP that kept coming back for more. This took a while for some folks, but eventually it was pointed out that GP Greenglade, one of the older GPs that occurred, let's see where Greenglade was. Yeah, it was the 5th GP we ever did. For a while after GP Greenglade, whenever we would get the announcements of the new GP, LackeyBot's notifications about the GP were bugs to always say it was GP Greenglade, which resulted in a joke about it always being GP Greenglade within the community for a while. Sure enough, that's the GP that kept coming back for more, opening the path to Gareve and leading us to Bayleaf. We left Gareve behind many moons ago, but what plane did we just bid adieu? That's Vero, with Duelists of Vero rotating out in January. Vero is behind us, but ahead of us too. I think you already know what to do. And led us to the last puzzle that we had on this thread, and which stumped us for a while. Among this forest is a rare cost, or perhaps a group of important people. This one utterly stumped me. I assumed the answer was going to be this forest for a long time, but the answer is ultimately looking for the rare cost. And the group of important people I also thought had to be some answer of a group of people represented by like a cost for abilities and spells in a set. It's a joke. It's a pun. But we didn't get there right away because while we were doing this, somebody tried to input the original order that the letters appeared appended at the ends of the file names. So rather than it being alphabetical, it was A, G, E, B, D, C, F, Z. Ah, you wish to uncover the secrets early, do you? Firstly, there is no need to shout unless you arrange it properly. So that is informing us what this will eventually be. Beyond that, I offer you these paths. Unless you arrange it properly was also meant to indicate that you were supposed to rearrange these letters in alphabetical order, which was supposed to initially lead us to the starter path. And we got to the starter path before we actually got to this page. The paths that we were offered were 7. 7 different puzzles with 7 different answers. Meet where Revolution in the Multiverse did, we already solved with Theros. Seek the Prismavera tourist, desperate for a drink, we also already solved with Irrelict. Because despite the Revolution Renegade promo, it's also just some fish in a city that doesn't really have water anywhere near it. They're just weird big fish spirits. Beyond that, we eventually got to some of the other answers. I don't recall exactly how we got to this, but 701.61, which I think we can come down here to rules. Journey through the comprehensive rules to find an address. 701.61, which is the appended rule within the comprehensive rules for Journey, led us to Vastum. Battle through Svergard to find a resting place. It was pointed out that Morig Moor, member of the community pointed out that Morig Moor, I believe Silver Parabellum, Morig Moor was mentioned on a couple cards in Svergard. So if we go to Morig Moor, no space, we found Svergard. Karsi's bones that have fallen out of place. Well, within the set of Karsis, we got Karsi's spine, the Great Sierra. If we try spine, that took us to Karsus. Vote for the elected leader of Nylon. is a reference to the lead up to Cliques of Nylon back in August. Specifically, when Nylon was first announced, rather than announcing the one Renegade promo that the set would get inherently upon rotating in, it revealed the 5 mythic clique leaders with Kanai Stone, Krint 5-star, Chief Executive Dante, Eo the Great Equalizer, and Severin Sparkmind, all available. Suppose I'm outing myself. I voted for Severin Sparkmind, but with 18 votes, the Kanai Stone came out on top. And when the set officially rotated in, the votes were tallied, and we received the Kanai Stone Renegade promo. So if we try the Kanai Stone, our vote was confirmed. Nylon thanks us. And finally, Meet Where Revolution and Standard did is a reference to a GP I can't even pull up for you, but is specifically a reference to the April 2022 GP, Revolution Fusion, in which Revolution crossed over with the Standard card pool for a month after an April Fool's joke about Wizards of the Coast acquiring the custom Magic Discord. So if we choose Tawashi, which is a location on Kamigawa, we reach our other crossroads. So folks eventually started piecing all of this together. And as we started piecing all of this together, we realized we had not solved Typhlosion, went back and solved that, and then finally realized the only step we thought we had left was Meganium. So that rare cost, perhaps a group of important people, is a single card with this particular casting cost. One that's about to rotate out of Standard. Moresso Infuser of Light. This symbol, the Void symbol, on LackeyBot displays as VP. The rare cost, or perhaps a group of important people, is VP, 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 or 4 vice presidents. I did say it was a joke. Catalia's Forests did not slow us down, but our path reached its end for now, and we solved all 3 starters. And then we were told we were still missing 3 clues. So as we performed this, folks noticed that folks noticed that the bottom of the initial first step we were supposed to arrive upon, these letters started appearing. And if we went to a dead end, like we'll just type in dead end here, these letters would also appear on the wrong trail page. So when we got to the end of Meganium, we had all but 3 letters, everything but S and H. So folks thought we were done, and then it was pointed out to us that we were missing 3 clues. And where we ended up going back to was the idea of the starters. And someone proposed the idea of what if there's a 4th starter or another route from this page. And Cajun indicated that that was the correct path of thinking. Folks initially started thinking about the professor here. Well, it's Professor Elm from the Pokemon games, but there's no clear parallel to that character within the 2 Chikyu sets that we have within Revolution. And then someone made kind of a jokey suggestion that Pokemon Legends ZA was announced not too long ago, and in that game, 2 of the 3 Generation 2 starters return, with Totodile and Chikorita being accompanied by Tepig instead of Cyndaquil. And someone said, well, what if the final path is Tepig? And we decided to try it for kicks. And that was our final path. Our 4th path in GP terms is 4th Street. The secrets of Tetros unfold around you, but can you find the trail? So once again, we evolve, this time to Pignite. 2 tournaments were set upon their plane, but which set lacked it in its name? The creator of this set pointed out that Bloodlike Rivers had 2 tournaments set on Bloodlike River locations, Eltenzia, But Eltensia is not in the name of Blood Like Rivers anywhere. So Pipsqueak pointed this out. Folks tried BLR, didn't work. I tried spelling out Blood Like Rivers, and it did. Altensia weighs heavily upon you. I think you already know what to do. So, of course, one final evolution. Embor. Only Cyberos eludes us now. What sneaky type rose to the occasion while we were there? Blessing. While we were in Cyberos, that was truly the genesis of the success of some of the more popular blessing cards we see nowadays. Our only GP we've had on Cyberos so far, where the location of the GP is a Cyberos location, to my knowledge, is Grand Prix Techian, the inaugural GP of Cyberos season back in May, won by Ricky Rister. Star-Studded Sagittar was the winning promo, with Equinox Mark also getting a promo. And Silver Parabellum proposed that Blessing was the answer. We've been blessed with access to Cyberos, but it seems our path has reached its end for now. So we got everything. Got all the letters. We just had to arrange it properly. We started theorizing on what the arrangements could be. I recognized that the word whenever was easily pulled out of this bunch, leaving 11 letters behind. I initially latched onto chose and causes as potential words that could be present there. And then, and I'm scrolling back up through Discord on my phone because I would just like to give proper credit. Community member Redbay was the one who eventually figured out and sent the link to us. Lackybot.com/April/whenever chaos ensues. And here we are, Revolution Planechase. This was a really fun journey. Thank you so much to Cajun, who set up a truly fun little rabbit hole for us to go down. Unfortunately, obviously, I've given away all of the puzzle solutions here, but any members of the community who wanted to partake in all of this, the pieces were all there. I would just like to shout out a few folks here at the end. But again, if you want to give yourself some credit, which obviously if you were part of this chase, feel free to give yourself some credit, shout yourself out in the comments, or I don't know, be a valor thief and claim to have had involvement when you didn't. I don't know. But I do want to give a lot of shout outs to everyone within the community who was a participant, but especially folks like Provocative, Philippe Sanner, H Squid, Silver Parabellum, Pipsqueak, all of the curators who were around. I know Zangy, All Who Wander, and PTM all chimed in at different moments just to sort of help us provide some soft feedback on whether or not we were going in the right paths. We had folks who had to step away for a little while. I'm just kind of scrolling through on my phone, making sure that I get the names that I can find. Dr. Chipmunk participated and was a great help as well. Chipmunk was the one who made the conclusion of Moreso for VPs. Red Bay was a major contributor on the Meganium path. Yeah, this was a ton of fun. It was a great community experience getting to work our way through everything. Ignited Soul was a participant for a while there. Helped us get through the Chikorita path for a while as well. Yeah, it was a joy to go through, and I'm very, very grateful that this was something I got to be a part of through all of this, and that I get to share the experience and the path we got to arrive upon this information, this discovery of what April's tournament will be about. Very, very fun that I get to share that journey with all of you. So, going over the planes themselves is going to be for another day once we have the full comprehensive bit of information about what the next GP is going to look like in terms of mechanics. Sorry, had a moment of my brain started stalling out, but I'm just really thrilled to be getting into this field in this format. As I understand, it is going to be the standard card pool, with obviously any changes that come in the April balance patch being applied. I know I have seen some people express some concern that we're going to be heading into a very like ramp heavy meta again after ramp decks kind of dominated the last few GPs. But just looking through the Planechase tools that this event's going to give us with the different plane cards, there are definitely a lot of cool aggro tools, and I think aggro is actually going to be a strong beneficiary of the mana sink that is rolling the planar die. So I think there's going to be some really fun mix-ups and complications in this field to really get into some fun space. So review of all of the planes incoming. We'll take some time to go through all of the different planes, what they do, and then elaborate upon how some of them might work together, because you do have to select at least 10 plane cards when going into your individual GP matches. So very eager to see how everything pans out there, and can't wait to dive into it with all of you. Beyond that, I have been warned that this is not the end of the big news pieces coming for Revolution. So I know PTM has issued an apology to me. Curator and format like innovator PTM has apologized to me for all of the work I have ahead of me, and I am nervously excited to find out exactly what he means by that. And I can't wait to share with all of you the other new things we have to discuss moving forward in this next month or so. Until then, I can't wait to dive into Revolution Planechase with all of you, and I will see you all in the Revolution chat in the meantime. Take care, everybody.